Okay, folks, so I am here with the leading creative agency in the Netherlands, Editflow. Do you guys just want to quickly introduce yourself, explain who you work with and what you do?
Awesome, yeah. So we're Jelle and Ivo from Editflow, and we're here today kind of discussing everything about content. So we run Editflow, a content agency specifically made for e-commerce brands. And to kind of describe the type of brands that we work with is we work with a lot of problem-solving brands. So they sell a product that solves a problem, and that's basically what we do.
Cool, so if you've got an e-commerce brand, you're going to want to watch this video. What I want to know is, in your talk just now, you spoke a lot about different types of content. You spoke about high production, UGC, still images. Now, everybody always asks the question, what type of content converts the best right now? And I think I even asked you that and you said it really does depend on the brand. Maybe don't give an answer in terms of what type of content is the best, because I know that depends on the brand. But what makes a good piece of content? If somebody doesn't know and they want to create content to be able to get more sales and get new customers for less money, what are the things that they need to be thinking about?
Yeah, so to get back to the first part of your question, I think a general thing that we see and that most people probably see is that top of funnel, the more high production ads perform well, middle funnel, UGC ads, bottom of funnel, static ads. Okay. So that's kind of a basic principle that we've seen around. And regarding the, if you want the best performance for your buck, basically, you really want to focus on knowing your persona. So I also said in the presentation, a lot of people look at finding a product market fit, which is important. But yeah, I mentioned it before, not everyone needs a phone case, not everyone needs like a new product or something. So what you really want to find is an angle that fits with the market, and the more angles you find that fits with the market for your product, the more winning ads you can create. And by starting to find a winning angle, you want to focus on knowing your persona. You want to know how that person feels. You want to know what solution that person is looking for. You want to know what their situation is like. What do they feel like? And based on that, for example, with a skincare product. I had the same example in the presentation. There are so many skincare products out there, so many girls trying a bunch of products, trending products, and they just damage their skin and they're scared to buy new products. There's like a very specific persona. They try too much, damage their skin, and now they just simply don't know what to do anymore. So that's a persona that you can map on like the awareness stages, and if you map that properly, find an angle to that, start testing it. Doesn't really matter whether it's a static, whether it's a UGC piece, or whether it's a high production piece. But yeah, that's my take on it. Maybe Jelle has something else to say there too.
Cool. Well, I'll actually pass it to you because I've got a follow-on question from that. But what I'm understanding from you is, if you understand who the ad is made for and you understand what their insecurities are and what problem they're looking to solve, it means that you can make a more persuasive piece of content. And that's more important than whether it's a video, an image, UGC, whatever it is. The format is less important. It's about the psychology. Is that right?
Exactly.
Cool. Okay, so the $1 million question then becomes, how do you actually find these angles that work? Because a lot of the brands that we work with, and I'm sure the brands that come to you, the creative research process up until this point is go on the ad library, look at your competitors, and change the logo and change the us versus them on the split screen. And that's their creative research, is to copy what other brands are doing. What do you find is the best way to find angles that convert?
Yeah, so we are always very big on using the software called Atria, which is like, it basically maps, I would say 70% of all the ads that are in the ad library and analyzes them based on AI. And I think in their software, if you click on a specific brand, it shows you what their top angles are, what personas they're targeting. And I feel like that's a really good way to kind of get into finding the right angles. But also what we said during the talk is mapping the personas, seeing in which of the 5 awareness levels those personas are, and kind of identifying the angles that would fit with them in those awareness levels. So I feel like that's also a good approach. And I think that the best way to kind of put it is find a hybrid approach in between what you see competitors doing and what your own analysis is. And I think that's the way to kind of prevent that what most brands are doing when they're starting out is just copying what the competitors are doing. And it's not a bad thing to do, but it just lacks authenticity. And if you're able to kind of combine those two, your own research and what you see is working well, I feel like you have a good like starting point for creating content that will convert.
You mentioned something in your talk about Reddit, and I've been preaching about Reddit for a long time because it's where people are like ruthlessly honest, right?
That's what you need.
Yeah, you need the honesty. Like if you ask a customer, they're going to tell you something and it's going to be skewed in some way, whether they want to exaggerate the good things or the bad things. Reddit, people have no idea you're about to use this as a marketing angle, and so they are just honest. You also mentioned TikTok. Now, TikTok's not part of my creative research process as much right now.
Okay.
I'd love to understand a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So what we are looking, as we say in Dutch, we're looking for like an unsalted opinion. It's like a very raw opinion of someone. Like that's where you find the valuable stuff for your angles. Same on Reddit, but same on TikTok. The stuff that goes organically viral on TikTok doesn't need to be millions of views. Within like a small niche, it can be, I don't know, 100k views, 50k views. But if it's like a very raw opinion of someone saying something about skincare product, or he or she had a certain problem that she solved with a product, or she is running into a problem and doesn't know the solution yet. Those are very interesting TikToks to watch, and even if you scrape them, transcribe them, throw it in your chat with all the other information you have from the client, then you get some very interesting results out of that. So mainly try to find like within the niche some viral TikToks. Doesn't need to be millions of views, but just people sharing their opinion, unsalted opinions.
Yeah. And I think those opinions that you either get from Reddit or from like organic TikTok videos, I feel like those really form the good recipe for the good hooks. I remember we once had a conversation with, I think, somebody that had like a brand associated with children, and the best hook was a review I think he found on Reddit where I think it was a bedside lamp or something that helped kids go to sleep, where the kids would stand at the top of the stairs and scream downstairs when the moms or the parents were still in the living room like, "Mom, I can't sleep." And that was the best hook for them, and that came from a review or something they found on Reddit. And I think that's like a prime example of how finding those raw, authentic expressions of people that are frustrated or trying to solve their problem will form the recipe for like a hook that has like a 60% hook rate. So I think that's like a good thing.
It's a massively good thing, and the thing is, like, we all, if you understand what somebody is thinking, you are way more likely to be able to influence their purchasing behavior. And so get into that deep root cause of why they might want to buy a product in the first place is really going to help make sure that your ads stand out. Copying other people is going to give you such broad generic angles, like it's going to reduce brain fog or eliminate jitters. We've heard it a million times. But really, if you're finding somebody's very specific situational problem and you're addressing that, they're going to see you as the authority to have the right solution, and it just puts you here versus your competitors, which will be here.
Yeah, and I think a lot of, or like a big step a lot of brands miss is you, for example, you mentioned the brain fog, like you eliminate the brain fog. But the biggest step you can make is kind of going the next step, so going like to the second level. So, okay, brain fog, eliminating that is level 1, but what is it going to lead you to do? So if you're an entrepreneur, you have less brain fog, you get to do more work, you're going to make more money. And I think kind of putting that in perspective for a specific persona, so eliminating X will get you Y for this persona, I think that's where you're going to get the most traction and like the best performance, because you just put it in perspective.
I love that. And we are speaking all about content. These guys have got a very successful agency and they focus on content. The reason for that is because that is the single biggest contributing factor, other than maybe product, which will determine how much you pay to acquire a customer. So I don't want to understate anything that we're speaking about now. If we give you a piece of advice and you go to Reddit and it helps make a more accurate video, which helps you get new customers for less, the difference is huge. I mean, you got a screenshot up in your presentation of the growth. Do you want to just explain one of the case studies, maybe even that one, or if you've got a different one that you want to explain, and how the work that we're talking about now has helped elevate somebody else's e-com brand?
Yeah. So we have this one prime example. I'll take the same example because I have the product over here. It's like an Alcantara phone case. The brand is called Alcanside. And they came to us in beginning of 2024. and they were telling us, yeah, we're just running steadily on renders and static ads and photos of their products. They're like really happy with it because they were doing like decent numbers. They were happy guys living a happy life. They're like, there's so much more potential in there. And I think at first they didn't really wanna believe us. They were like skeptical about it. Then we did a first shoot. We made founder ads in the fulfillment center of them telling their story. Hey, we're two young guys, passionate about cars, because the Alcantara material is in like supercars and stuff. And those ads kind of blew off. It like doubled their revenue. I think they're doing like 150K at that point, doubled it to 300K. And then later in September, there was an iPhone 16 launch back then. We told them we need to do like an iPhone launch campaign. So we shot a bunch of founder ads in front of the Apple Store in Amsterdam, in front of the Apple Store in The Hague. And I think that like tripled their revenue again in Q4.
Wow.
So yeah, that's like a really good example of they were just running renders, just running static ads of their product, which is in like the bottom two awareness stages. But if you can reach people that are above there, you just unlock so much growth for a product.
Okay, I'm going to ask one final question because, yeah, one final question. And I'm going to ask it to both of you, and I want to get both of your opinions. What is one truth that you believe, or what's something that you believe as it relates to high performing content that other people would probably disagree with you on? It's a difficult question, by the way.
What is one truth?
I got one.
Oh, you start.
It's something I heard so much in the space now. Everybody is telling us, even clients, like, we need to push more content. We need to push more content. They're just focusing on quantity. And sometimes it works. For some brands, it's like the right step at the stage that they're at. But for so many brands, you first need to look at finding more winning angles. And that's not by pushing out more content. That's just by strategically testing new angles, new ad concepts. And like increase your ad hit rate. Don't increase your quantity first. First increase your ad hit rate, because then if you start improving your quantity, then you will have more winning ads instead of just randomly pushing out random stuff and not tracking anything. So I think that's one misconception that I see in the space now that I disagree with pushing out more content instead of focusing on quality and data-driven content.
Yeah, that's a good one. Have you thought of one, or do you need me to stall?
No, I can't. No, I just was thinking back about the talk we just had inside, and it kind of made me think about the whole persona thing and the people that you're targeting and thinking of their pain points. And I think that's also like a big misconception brands owners make, and especially guys selling female products, thinking that you know what their pain points are, but they have no freaking clue. Like they think they're experiencing this on a daily basis, and then if you actually go up go up to a persona, but let's say you go up to a female that's within the target audience, they will come up with the completely opposite answer, which is their truth, but you kind of filled in the answer for them, and that's usually why their ads are not performing or are not performing at the level that it can be. So I think a big mistake brands owners are making is just filling in the answers for their personas instead of coming up with the data to kind of prove it.
And you can tell, by the way, when the onboarding form is just full of a ChatGPT customer persona. It's the most. It's literally the most obvious thing, and it's just a dash. Yeah, just a dash, and it's not realistic. And genuinely, like, I'd rather you have a less detailed customer persona, but you actually speak to some of your customers. You analyze the last 10. Yeah. What did they have in common? What did they look like? Why did they buy? That is so much more useful than a fancy 4-page document that looks really nice and shiny, but realistically isn't actually that useful. I'm going to add to this and answer my own question here as well. One of the things that I think not everybody would agree with me on is sometimes ugly ads convert, and you don't need a perfect ad. If an ad is accurate, we can have a founder literally walking out of their car talking about their story. It doesn't always have to be a professional backdrop. You don't have to be in Saint-Tropez in a villa like this to be able to create a good video. Genuinely, if you're talking about the right thing and the message connects, the ad will convert. And don't get obsessed with making sure you're wearing a t-shirt with your logo on it and you've scripted it, and if you say one word wrong you have to redo the whole video, which is kind of ironic because I did that at the start of this video. But genuinely, get ads out there and test the angles, and it's all about the angles, and it's less about how high production a video is.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Thank you, gents.
Cool.
Appreciate you. Let's go. Appreciate it.
Nice.
Good connection on that one.
Sure.